Hey guys, thanks for tuning into my YouTube channel. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about 5 things that you should know before you decide to go vegan. Okay, so let's get into this. So first thing that you should know is that being vegan doesn't necessarily mean that it's healthy. So what do I mean by that? Just because you cut out your dairy and your meat products does not necessarily mean that you've cut out the bulk of junk out there in the world. There are different levels to being a vegan. You can be a fruitarian, you could be an alkaline vegan, you could decide to do a diet that is high in carbs, high in starch, or you can simply just decide to cut out altogether meat and dairy and then everything else is free reign. So if it is a healthy lifestyle that you are trying to pursue when going vegan, keep in mind these few tips. There are a lot of processed vegan foods out there on the market right now. One of the more popular processed vegan foods out there is your imitation meat. So this is your Impossible meat, your Beyond meat, your Beyond beef, your vegan hot dogs, all of those things that you would typically consume as a meat eater, but in vegan form. If you look at the ingredients list on a lot of these imitation meats, you could see that it's highly processed. It contains high sodium, artificial colors, a long list of artificial ingredients, preservatives, and processed oils. These are the things that you want to stay away from when you are trying to pursue a healthier vegan diet. In addition to this, you want to make sure that you're avoiding your processed sugars too, which you can find in cereals and bread and pastries. The list goes on and on. So the overall tip for this is if the ingredients list is long, just stay away from it. Another thing you should keep in mind as far as health-wise goes is to not overindulge in your starchy foods. I'm talking about your white rice, your pastas, white potatoes, beans. These foods do contain a high amount of starch in them, so you want to be moderate when it comes to how much you're consuming. Too much of anything is bad for you. With starchy foods in particular, it can lead to weight gain, diabetes, and also heart disease too. So always be mindful of how much you're taking in and just make sure that you're keeping your plates balanced. So the next thing that you should be mindful of if you decide to pursue a vegan diet is to beware of GMOs. So what are GMOs? Essentially, it's any kind of product out there on the market right now that is made unnaturally. So this consists of pretty much the majority of products that you can find in your grocery store. So for a lot of people, it is very hard to avoid GMOs altogether. The reason why you should be concerned about the amounts of GMO foods that you are consuming has to do with the amount of nutrients that you're receiving. It is thought that GMO foods are less nutrient dense than the natural form of that food. So with that said, you might not be getting as much of the nutrients that your body should be getting when you're eating, your fruits, your vegetables, your grains, and so forth. There are some people out there that claim that GMO foods are just as nutritious as the natural source of that food. But you also do want to be mindful that a lot of these GMO foods do contain pesticides. And the problem with pesticides is that there has been a lot of research and studies done that have confirmed the direct effect of pesticides on your health. You could also find that there are cases out there where people have won millions of dollars in lawsuits against Monsanto because of his pesticide products, which have led to cancer and other health complications in individuals. So moral of the story with that, just try to avoid as much GMO foods as you can. And you can do this by simply going to your local farmer's market, and also through shopping your organic food section at the grocery store. Now, keep in mind that organic does not necessarily mean non-GMO. It simply has to do with the process in which they grow their fruits and vegetables, and they typically exclude the use of pesticides. So if it's pesticides that you're concerned about, then go the organic route. If it's strictly non-GMO foods that you're looking for, look out for the label at the grocery store that indicates non-GMO. So next tip when going vegan, the first few months of you practicing a vegan diet, you might feel hungrier than usual. If you consume the typical American diet, which is high in sodium, saturated fats, refined grains, all of these things that are really bad for you. When you cut these things out of your diet and pursue a more natural plant-based diet, you want to make sure that you're doubling up on how much you would typically take in fruits and vegetables if you were on that all-American diet. You were so used to excessively overfeeding your body with things that it didn't need. However, at the same time, you would be replenishing your body with the nutrients that it does need. Another tip is to eat more grains. Of course, you want to do this in moderation though, but grains tend to fill you up a lot quicker than fruits and vegetables do. Last tip to overcome hunger is just keep snacks on deck all the time, such as almonds, walnuts, dates, any little source of protein that's going to keep you lasting throughout the day. My personal recommendation is to utilize sea moss, because sea moss works wonders, especially on your metabolism. It tends to make you feel fuller for a longer period of time. In addition to sea moss, you could start taking herbal teas. A lot of herbal teas are really good for supplementing the nutrients that you need in your body. So in essence, it's really not how much you eat, but what you eat too. If you're eating foods that are lacking in nutrients, you're gonna have to supplement it with other kinds of foods. So you wanna make sure that you're supplementing your body with enough nutrients to combat this hunger issue. Next thing on the list, if you are pursuing a healthy vegan diet the right way, is to prepare your body for a purge. So oftentimes what happens when you're transitioning from eating meat and dairy and processed foods to completely cutting out these things and pursuing a plant-based diet is that your body is gonna purge out all the bad to take in more of the good. So for a lot of people, this could look very different. So I know for me in particular, the very first year that I became a vegan, I experienced really bad acne. So I'll see if I can throw some videos up here for you guys to see just how bad it was. But overall, I experienced a lot of inflammation in my face, and this went on for pretty much the whole first year of me being vegan. There is a long list of signs and symptoms to look out for when you are experiencing a cleanse. Just be mindful that the changes that are happening in your body are normal. The number one advice that I can give you if you're experiencing any of these symptoms is really just to give it time and allow your body to completely remove all the toxins. Eventually your body will go back into, its normal state. But like I said, it's gonna take a lot of time. For other people, it might be just the type of vegan diet that you decided to pursue. Whether that's overindulging in fruits or overindulging in starches, you might just have to look at the proportion of foods that you're taking in that might be causing these imbalances in your body. So the last thing on my list of things that you should know about before you decide to go vegan is that vegetables are indeed a complete source of protein. So as a vegan, you often get this question, well, where are you getting your protein from? Back in the day, there was a study done where they experimented on rats. Basically, one group of rats got fed animal-based protein while another group got fed plant-based protein. The rats that were fed the animal-based protein gained a lot more weight, a lot more quicker than the ones that were fed plant-based protein. What they ended up concluding in that study is that Animal protein was the superior protein, which is why most people tend to lean towards your meats for your complete source of protein. However, what they didn't promote out of that study was that the rats that were fed the animal-based protein were also increasing at a higher rate in cancers and ailments and so many other sicknesses. Decades later, the famous author who ended up stating that plant-based protein was an incomplete protein, she later ended up retracting her statement, confirming that plant-based proteins were in fact complete. Unfortunately, by this time, the public was already under the assumption that plant-based proteins weren't enough, which is the reason why people still today ask the question, how are you getting your protein? But just know that as a vegan, there are enough protein sources out there to aid in your diet. From my own personal experience, I was completely fine pursuing a majority vegan diet while I was pregnant with my first son, and I'm currently pregnant with my second son right now. With both pregnancies, I've felt completely fine. I've been completely healthy, and even my doctor has confirmed that my vegan diet was more than enough to get the nutrients that I needed to supply for both myself and for my baby. So there you go. Those are my top 5 things that you should know before you decide to go vegan. I really do hope that this was helpful for somebody out there. Let me know, what were you guys' experiences when you first went vegan? Comment down below, and thank you guys for tuning into this video. I'll see you guys in my next one.